gym, if they want to increase, the size of the cafeteria. Just to give you an example right now, when we're in recess and there's lunch taking place, the kids are actually having gym class on a stage. And so that's, how fair is that to kids, especially at elementary level? We don't have the room right now to let them run around inside and do different things. So, there's just one small example of why it's important, why we feel we need to do something with these buildings. Because right now with the status quo, it's just not, feasible and it's not working for us as far as some of those activities. Talked about that even doing the renovation, we talked about one of the schools we looked at about lockers. Unfortunately, we said, oh, we'd love to have lockers, in the elementary schools to take care of, especially the clutter for the 3rd and 4th graders. And, kindergarten, 1st grade, it could be a teacher decision. But with the size of our hallways, we wouldn't be able to put lockers in there because it would make the lockers.
And kind of interesting design lockers. If you would ask me my opinion on lockers before seeing the school, I would have said you're absolutely crazy in an elementary center. But the lockers actually, if you envision this was the hallway, were small lockers for elementary students. They came up to about this high. And currently, I know when I walk into a lot of classrooms, some have code timing, some are outside on the floor, they're all over the place, it's complete up, it's an organizational issue. And again, these buildings were built in 1994. We have some bus routes, especially in East Penn, where students right now are currently on the bus for an hour. There's no doubt about it. By the time they leave East Penn Elementary, they go down 895, they curve around the mountains of East Penn, they go down along the Lehigh River in Kittatinny, they loop up around the Kittatinny Mountain, come back across, and have to go back across Perryville. They're getting home at 4 o'clock, 4:05. It's not a fun run, and I've ridden the buses because a lot of them have behavioral reports. Not that I really blame them. They're bored, they're antsy. It's the end of the day, and they're sitting on that bus. So, bus timings, we do have kids on buses for hours, an hour at least.
So we're looking at now studying that with them to actually help some of those students, for example, get on the bus right there by Mahoning, and they actually drive past Shull David School to go out to Mahoning Elementary School. It makes absolutely no sense to me, but it's all part of it.
Kids have to be bussed and bussed and bussed, and you're not going to convince me that they're not on the bus longer, because they're going to be on the bus longer.
Well, some will, yeah, you're absolutely right. But what I'm saying is, but as far as comparison, the kids in 5th grade are on that bus the same amount of time as
okay.
And the other part of it is, too, is as far as the education piece, we really feel that we would be able to increase the opportunities for the students. We would plan on bringing music down, to the 5th grade. And what we mean by music is almost like a free concert type program down to the 5th grade.
Instrumental lessons.
Also, right now, our kids are so far behind. Have a program to talk about languages. My son had 25 days of Spanish in kindergarten. So
but obviously we get it done, we make it work. That's not why you want to go and build an elementary center, to make life easier. It's just about what is going to be the most cost productive and how we can maximize our curriculum for our students. Again, all 4 elementary buildings have an elementary master schedule, and what that means is
And again, I want to remind everyone, this is really what we're looking at is just discussion. I mean, if you're going to ask me questions about, are taxes going to go up and this type of thing, I don't have that information right here in front of me. But again, at our workshop session, we'll be able to have a clear understanding of how that will affect those things. Right now, we're really focusing on the students and what's best for the kids, and then we'll do, work through that part of it later. Because it doesn't matter, because it's going to cost money no matter what we do. Whether we spend $30 million on 4 elementary buildings or if we spend $30 million on one, it's going to cost that much. So,
the meetings are open because we do want to hear what people want, as
students, kids, and
From what I saw on the PowerPoint here, it sounds, and from what you were talking, it sounds like you want to go with the new building. Because there was nothing that said, well, this has to be done at Franklin, this has to be done in Mahoning, this has to be done in East Penn.
that was all brought up at the workshop meetings that they've had. We've
So
gone through all of those.
so this is you explaining that this is the best way to go.
This is me saying the board asked me to, get more information, discussion at the last workshop meeting, to bring numbers back and to do more of a study on this type of thing.
And to build a school that looks like a prison.
What's that?
I said and build a school that looks like a prison. This is you explaining that this is the best way to go.
This is me saying the board asked me to, get more information, discussion at the last workshop meeting, to bring numbers back and to do more of a study on this type of thing.
And to build a school that looks like a prison.
What's that?
I said and build a school that looks like a prison and
I
run
hope
like a
that's
prison.
not.
But they
I
asked,
don't want to see bars on the roof.
are you saying the board asked you to get this proposal?
No, the board at our last workshop meeting said they'd like more information. And also gone around and talked to the PTOs here.
Okay, but they authorized a long time ago just to fix the schools that they had.
Right, but this is another option if they want to have more.
But this came about because the architect wanted to do something.
No, I don't have to do with the architect.
Who asked the architect to design this?
The architect didn't really design anything. This is just from us talking and seeing about the opportunities and things.
But the pod picture that came from E&I,
Oh, that was, yeah, that was.
that's E&I. But who authorized them to spend the money to go design that,
There
or
is no
even?
money spent. They have patrolling.
They're going to make it later.
Yes.
Okay, so who asked them to make that? Nobody?
Who asked them
To make the design of a
well,
pod.
they would have an example of one, yeah. And the fact that, all these people are walking around and doing things.
Another key piece in the renovation project, again, whether it's 4 buildings, 3, 2, 1, is looking at the drop-off and pickup of students in the morning and the afternoon. And I know, obviously, we're here at Franklin, we've sent home multiple letters this year. In my 12 years of being at the elementary level, I don't know that I've really ever had this problem before as a teacher and now as an administrator, where we have staff, we have parents unable to wait and in a rush and zooming down and cutting across buses, going down grass lines, all those kind of things. So we've had to change our drop-off and our pickup, mostly the pickup at the end of the day, putting people in the back of the building. So having those buses and cars come in at the same entrance and exit on a daily basis is an accident waiting to happen, unfortunately. It's a problem at all of our buildings. Whether I'm over at East Penn and my cars are backed up on 895, whether you drive into town and your cars are backed up on Beaver Run Road, here in Fairyland, and at times it becomes very tight, it becomes a crunch, and that's something that when we're redesigning these buildings, we're going to look at making it safer. So busing would be coming into, a different entrance and exit.
No matter what we do, we want to make sure that there's a separate parent bus drop-off. It's a mess. It is a mess. There's no doubt about it. And at the high school, it's even difficult. And there's actually 2 separate parking lots for the buses and the parents. But so many parents now are dropping kids off. That's it's a congestion.
How it all came about, when that was asked to take a look at all the buildings, you start looking at elementary buildings at $8.5 million times 4, you're going 32 to 34 million,
But-
which doesn't address septic systems.
Right.
You start taking a look at another building, out of due justice, what the board asked is when you're saying 27 million versus 34 million, that's $7 million up front plus yearly cost saved.
Correct.
That's what's now being presented to the people to say, hey, These are your options.
But the guy that gave you the $8 million number is the architect. If just like him, if you get a construction guy that's actually going to give you that number, it's way different than the $8 million.
Exactly.
And
I think we're going about this backwards. Right from the beginning, you said tonight, you don't want to go into figures because you don't have the information. Well, how can we go around to the 4 schools and get everybody hepped up and on board to do something, and then it gets passed through meetings of the school board saying, that's what the community wants, okay, let's do this building. Then you drop down the big bill on it.
Well,
This is backwards.
We're looking at.
Because
again,
we
we're
need to
looking
know
at-
figures before we know. Anything sounds good on paper. I mean, when you're talking here in the beginning, I'm sitting here, I have a list of things I don't agree with. But when you're sitting here talking, I'm sitting here thinking, boy, that's good, boy, that's good. Everything's sounding good. Then I think, no, wait a minute, hold back. It's not. We have to know our figures before we can agree. You might come into the school, I don't know if you talk to the teachers, the moms, the whoever here. Some might be for it, some not. Some might think, boy, this is great. We need it for our kids. Our kids need the best. Our kids don't need the best building in the world. They need the best teachers.
And I got involved by going to a couple meetings, and some of the numbers didn't seem to add up to me as I was listening.
And that would be what I recommend all you to do, because I hear your numbers, and I'm not gonna argue with you about numbers, I'm not. But I would recommend you come to it, and then you'll see the layout, because there is, like I said, not replacing teachers $100,000 in 10 years. It's just
A couple